You ever have one of those nights where everything feels off, but you can't explain why? It was a Tuesday. I remember that because Tuesdays are always weird. Nothing good ever happens on a Tuesday. It's not the fresh start of a Monday or the downhill slide into the weekend. It just sort of exists like background noise. I had just put our daughter, Ava, down for the night. Her blanket was twisted around her like a cinnamon roll, and she was snoring softly through her stuffy nose. Teething. Again. I was exhausted, emotionally and physically, and all I wanted was 10 quiet minutes to scroll mindlessly on my phone before doing the dishes and collapsing into bed. I made a cup of peppermint tea, curled up on the couch, and opened Instagram. Kayla, our nanny, had posted another one of her little day-in-the-life reels. She does them almost daily. Very Pinterest core. Clips of Ava coloring, the dog stealing a piece of toast, Kayla pouring oat milk into a mason jar like she's starring in a lifestyle ad. She loves that aesthetic. I usually tap through them without sound, half watching. This one started with her at the kitchen counter, making heart-shaped pancakes. Cute. Then a shot of her and Ava walking in the yard. Then a pan of the living room, Ava dancing in her pajamas, the dog barking at the mail truck, background slightly out of focus. And then, I paused, rewound, blinked. There, just for a second. Barely visible through the reflection in the sliding glass door, was him. Jason, my husband. And someone else. Another woman, standing way too close. Her hand was on his chest. His hand, God, it was resting on her waist. They weren't just chatting. They weren't even trying to hide it. They kissed. I froze. I swear, my body stopped working. 1 second I was breathing, sipping tea. The next, I was paralyzed. It wasn't just a kiss. It wasn't drunk or sloppy or uncertain. It was practiced. Like they'd done it before. Like it was normal. Like she was the one he kissed goodnight every day. I rewound it. Again. And again. At least 10 times. The whole thing lasted maybe 2 seconds. But I saw enough. Her hair was curled, light brown. She wore a red flannel shirt, mine, I think. The one I hadn't seen since last fall. His favorite one on me. He used to say I looked cozy in it. He was smiling. That soft smile he only used when he was really present. Not his lawyer face or his fake social one. His real smile. And it wasn't for me. It took me another full minute to realize I'd been holding my breath. My tea had gone cold. My hands were shaking so hard the cup rattled when I set it down. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, staring at the screen, waiting for some alternate version to appear. Waiting for the camera to shift and show it was some misunderstanding. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe it was a dream. But no! It was our backyard, our glass door, our home. And my husband. Kissing someone who was very much not me. There was no sound in the video. Just music. Some trending indie pop song Kayla always uses. I didn't even hear it. My ears were ringing. My brain was sprinting but not getting anywhere. My heart wasn't racing. It was sinking. I clicked back to Kayla's page. The video had just gone up an hour ago, barely any views. I stared at the comments, the tags, the captions. Nothing suspicious. She hadn't seen it. She didn't even know what she'd captured. And somehow, that made it worse. This wasn't some calculated betrayal uncovered by sleuthing. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation or a suspicious lipstick stain. It was an accident, a glitch in the matrix. A quiet, casual exposure of the truth. One I hadn't even been looking for. I sat back, phone in my lap, hands numb. Jason wasn't home. He was at drinks, with a client, some out-of-town investor, he said. I hadn't even questioned it. That was the worst part. I'd kissed him goodbye at 6:30, thanked him for handling school pickup the next day, and wished him luck with the pitch. And he said, "Love you. Be home late." The audacity. I looked at the clock. 9:47 p.m. I wondered where he was right now. Still with her? Already on his way home? In a hotel? I didn't know. All I knew was that everything felt unreal. I didn't move. I didn't call anyone. I didn't even screenshot it. I just sat there, silent, watching a 12-second clip of my life unravel in 1080 ep. I didn't sleep. Not even a little. I laid in bed with the lights off, phone face down on the nightstand, staring at the ceiling like it owed me answers. I don't know what I was waiting for, a dream, a reset, some magic button that would erase the last 12 seconds of my life, but no button came. The only thing that showed up was morning. At 6:12 a.m., I heard Ava padding down the hallway, dragging her stuffed bunny by one ear. She came into our room half asleep, climbed into bed next to me, and tucked herself under my arm without a word. And I almost lost it right there. Not because she did anything, not because of what happened, but because she was so pure, so soft, so safe. And I knew that part of her little world was about to shift. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but eventually. Because no matter how quiet I stayed, this kind of betrayal, it echoes. By the time I got up and walked into the kitchen, Kayla was already there. Hair in a messy bun, sweatshirt tied at the waist, making dinosaur-shaped pancakes like it was any other morning. Ava sat at the counter, coloring a butterfly with markers, oblivious to everything except which shade of pink to use. Kayla smiled when she saw me. "Morning. Ava wants extra syrup today, but I told her she has to eat 2 bites of egg first." I nodded, barely hearing her. My mouth said, "Thanks." My brain said, "You have no idea what you did." I sat down at the far end of the island and opened my laptop, pretending to check email while I watched her move around the kitchen. It didn't take long. Her phone buzzed once, then again, and again. She picked it up mid-flip, checked the screen, and I watched the shift happen in real time. Smile gone. Color drained. She froze, scrolling with her thumb, then let out a quiet, sharp breath. Oh my God. I looked up, met her eyes. She blinked at me, pale, shaking, her phone still in her hand. I didn't know," she started. I said nothing. She stepped around the counter, phone pressed against her chest, like she could hold the truth inside it. "Mrs. Harper," she whispered. "I swear, I didn't know they were in the background. I wasn't even thinking, I was just—" "I know," I said. She looked like she was going to throw up, like she'd just run over a dog by accident. "I'm so sorry, I didn't even see them. I posted it before bed. I thought it was just Ava and the dog." "It's okay," I said calmly, too calmly. Because on the outside, I looked like someone holding it together. But inside, it was chaos. It was a second heartbeat pounding behind my ribs, a low roar in my ears, the overwhelming realization that this wasn't a dream. It was real. It happened. I saw it. She saw it. The internet might have seen it. And Jason? Jason had no clue. Kayla deleted the video immediately. Didn't matter. I already knew. And it wasn't going back in the box. She sat down on the stool across from me, hands trembling, tears welling in her eyes. "Do you want me to leave? I understand if you—" "No," I said. "You didn't do anything wrong." And I meant that. She was 23. She made videos about oat milk and toddler tantrums. She wasn't the one who wrecked my marriage. She just accidentally turned the camera at the wrong time. Ava tugged on my sleeve a minute later. "Mama, look! My butterfly has rainbow wings." I smiled at her, kissed the top of her head. "That's beautiful, sweetheart." And it hit me how surreal it all was. This moment, this kitchen, these eggs on the stove, this child next to me completely unaware that her parents' life just split open under her feet. At 9:38 a.m., the door opened. Jason walked in. Sunglasses on, iced coffee in hand, wearing the same blue jacket he always wore after his networking breakfasts. He kissed Ava on the head, smiled at Kayla, and looked at me like everything was perfectly normal. "Hey babe, I'm back. Did you sleep okay?" And I swear, for a second, I almost laughed. The performance, the casual tone, the full-on sitcom energy he was giving while the ashes were still settling. I said, "We need to talk." He looked confused. "Sure, what's up?" "Upstairs," I said, and started walking. He followed. Probably thought it was about groceries. Or a PTA meeting. Or that we forgot to pay the lawn guy again. I didn't say a word until we were in the bedroom and the door was closed. Then I turned, pulled my phone from my pocket, opened the video, and hit play. 12 seconds. His face. Her hand. The kiss. I didn't say anything. Just held up the screen and watched the blood drain from his face. He didn't deny it. Didn't say, "It's not what it looks like." He just stood there. Then quietly asked, "Where did you get that?" I stared at him. "Kayla posted it. You were just background noise." Silence. He sat on the edge of the bed, still not looking at me. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stood there, arms crossed, heart pounding like a war drum. Because I knew what he'd say next. I'd heard it before. From stories, from shows, from friends. "I didn't mean to hurt you. It wasn't serious. It just happened." And sure enough, I swear I didn't plan it. It just happened. I nodded. Of course it did. I turned toward the door. He called after me. "Can we talk about this?" I paused, hand on the doorknob. We are. And then I walked downstairs straight into a house that no longer felt like mine. You ever watch someone lie to your face while you already have the evidence in your hand? It's almost impressive. The commitment, the confidence, the way they still smile at you like they're pulling into a driveway that hasn't been on fire for the last 24 hours. That was Jason. He came home around 6:10 p.m. that night. I heard his car pull into the garage while I was feeding Ava mac and cheese at the kitchen island. She was singing a made-up song about noodles and her bunny. My brain was a blender on high speed. Kayla had already left for the day awkward, quiet, apologizing on her way out even though I'd already told her twice, "You didn't do anything wrong." I think she needed to hear it just as much as I needed to say it. Anyway, Jason walked in like always. Sunglasses on top of his head. Reusable grocery bag in one hand. Keys jingling. Voice warm, familiar, totally unaware. "Hey girls, got the almond milk you like?" And he stopped when he saw my face. I didn't flinch, didn't stand, didn't speak. I just looked at him. He walked over, leaned down to kiss the top of my head, reflex, habit, and I pulled away. His smile faltered. "Everything okay?" I nodded toward Ava. "She's fine. Go put your stuff down. We need to talk." The air changed. He picked up on it. He's not stupid. He knows my moods like muscle memory. He probably thought it was a bill or an argument about screen time or maybe something Ava said that worried me. Not this. Definitely not this. He set the bag down slowly. "What's going on?" "Upstairs." He hesitated, then followed. We didn't speak as we climbed the stairs. The house felt smaller somehow, like the walls had moved in, like it knew what was coming. I closed our bedroom door behind us. He sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, looking at me like I'd just told him someone died. Did something happen? I pulled my phone from my back pocket, opened the saved reel, and handed it to him. No words. Just the video. 12 seconds. He held the screen in his hand, watched it silently. Didn't blink. Didn't react. He played it again. And then again. On the third time, he finally said something. "This isn't what it looks like." I almost laughed. God, the classics never get old, do they? I took a deep breath. Really? So what is it? He rubbed his hands together, stared down at the floor. It's not serious." "Not serious," I repeated. "So you're telling me you just kissed a random woman in our backyard for fun?" "She's not random." "Who is she?" He hesitated. Too long. "She's someone I know from the gym." I said nothing. He added quickly, "It was a one-time thing." I raised an eyebrow. A one-time thing that just happened to be caught on camera? He flinched. "I didn't know Kayla was filming. I didn't even see her." "Of course you didn't. You were busy." His eyes snapped up. "I didn't mean for it to happen, I swear." I crossed my arms. "But it did." He stood up, walked to the window like he needed air even though it was closed. "I've been stressed. Things have been hard." There it was. The beginning of the excuse tour? I could feel it coming, the monologue about pressure, expectations, how I've been distant, how life got routine, how he didn't feel seen. And there it was. I've been feeling kind of alone lately. I looked at him so hard he had to turn away. "You live in a house with a wife who bends over backwards for you and a daughter who lights up when you walk into a room, and you feel alone?" He didn't answer. "Jason, I cook dinner while holding a toddler and answering emails. I wash the clothes you forget in the washer. I show up at your work dinners and smile while you tell the same 3 stories. And you're lonely?" He sat back down, head in his hands. "I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying I messed up." "Why her?" That's what I needed to know. He didn't answer. So I kept going. "How long has this been going on?" "A few weeks," he mumbled. That was a lie. I felt it in my chest. That quiet shift you get when someone tells you the half-truth instead of the full one. Was it just the kiss? He looked up, paused. And that pause? That was the answer. "Unbelievable," I muttered. "I didn't want to hurt you." "Then why did you?" "I didn't plan it. It just happened." God, I wish I had $1 for every time someone says that in these stories. It just happened. Like his lips tripped and fell onto hers. Like his hands accidentally found her waist. Like he blacked out during a romantic backyard stroll in broad daylight. I walked to the dresser, grabbed the charger I needed, and turned toward the door. "Where are you going?" he asked. "To sleep in the guest room." "Rachel." No, I said sharply. You kissed another woman in our backyard. You crossed a line. Now you get to sit in it. He stood. Can we just talk more tomorrow? Please. Let's figure this out. We will, I said. But tonight? You get to be uncomfortable. You don't get comfort from me. I opened the door. He didn't follow. Didn't speak. And for the first time in a very long time, I didn't feel guilty for putting myself first. I don't know what's worse, finding out someone cheated on you or realizing they've been lying to your face for months while you made dinner and asked about their day. Because once you know about the kiss, once you've seen it, your whole mind flips into a different gear. Everything becomes a clue. Every glance, every text, every time he was late from work or took a quick call outside. So yeah, I started looking. Not obsessively, not screaming into a pillow, just methodically, quietly, like someone who's already been betrayed and is now hunting for the rest of the truth. I started with his phone. He didn't even think to hide it. That's how comfortable he was. Like I was still the version of me who trusted him, who brought him coffee in the morning and didn't ask questions. There wasn't much at first, no saved texts, no obvious names, but I checked his calendar synced to our shared account. And there it was. Meeting 3:0 p.m. Press House Cafe. Repeated every Thursday for the past 6 weeks. Jason doesn't do recurring coffee meetings. So I scrolled through his email. Found a name buried in a forwarded invite. Madeline S. Didn't recognize it. Clicked on it. The full address was a company email from a local wellness startup we once partnered with at a fundraiser. I remembered the brand because they handed out branded lemon water and tote bags that said, "Calm is a lifestyle." I Googled her. Madeline Stokes. Social media coordinator, mid-30s, yoga teacher on weekends, and of course, blonde, long waves. Those curated "this is my messy bun" photos that still somehow look like a campaign. Her LinkedIn profile had a picture of her and a dog. The dog was cute. She looked familiar. Then it hit me. She had been at our house. Twice. Once during that fundraiser. Once when Jason hosted some wellness panel thing in our backyard for his firm's community outreach series, she brought a quinoa salad. I remember because Ava tried to feed it to the dog and called it cold rice. That was her. Madeline. Not just a name, not just a face. A person who shook my hand and complimented my hair while smiling at my husband like they shared an inside joke. I checked her Instagram. Public. Big mistake. It was a grid of sunsets, green smoothies, motivational quotes, and casual selfies in coffee shops. I scrolled back 6 weeks, then 5, then 4. There it was. A photo of her smiling at an outdoor cafe. Caption: when Thursday coffee becomes the best part of your week. I looked closer. The reflection in the window behind her just faint enough to miss if you weren't looking. Jason's shoulder. His jacket. His damn coffee order, almond milk, flat white with the brown sugar packet on the side. I clicked through her tagged photos. Nothing obvious. She was careful. But she wasn't invisible. Because in one picture, a group shot from that backyard event, Jason had his hand on her back. Not inappropriate. Just familiar. Too familiar. I remembered that day. I'd asked him to help me carry chairs, and he waved me off because he was talking to someone about vendor sponsorships. I stood in the kitchen and just stared at my phone. It wasn't a one-time thing. This had a schedule, a rhythm, a comfort. This was a relationship. I thought about every Thursday afternoon over the last 2 months. How he came home energized, talked more, smiled more. How I'd actually been grateful because he seemed less tense. He wasn't less tense. He was fulfilled. But not by me. And that's when it really hit me. He didn't just slip. He built a whole second reality, scheduled it, protected it, nurtured it while I thought we were rebuilding what we had. He lied when he didn't have to. He smiled in my face while planning his next Thursday. He stood in our kitchen, holding our daughter, and said, "I'm lucky." And the whole time, he was kissing someone else behind a sliding glass door. I waited until Ava was asleep. Not because I was trying to be calm, but because I needed to be focused. I needed him to hear every word, not through yelling or tears, but clearly, undeniably. Jason came in around 9:30. He had that careful smile on, the one he used when he knew something was off but didn't want to poke the bear. Like maybe, if he acted normal enough, I'd forget. He kicked off his shoes, hung up his jacket, and asked, "You need anything from the kitchen?" I said, "We need to talk. Now." He froze for half a second, then nodded. "Upstairs?" "No," I said. "Here." The kitchen was quiet, dim, Ava's unicorn nightlight glowing faintly down the hall. He sat across from me, hands folded, nervous. I pulled up the Instagram photo. The cafe, the reflection, the caption. I didn't need to say anything. He saw it. His eyes dropped, his fingers tightened. I told you it wasn't serious, he said, but it was regular. He didn't answer. Every Thursday, Jason? That's not a mistake. That's a meeting. That's a routine. I know how it looks. No, I said. You know exactly how it is. He sighed. It started out casual. Coffee. Talking. That's all. And then? A pause. He tried to soften it. She was going through a breakup. We were just connecting. I didn't plan for it to turn into an affair. He winced. I never intended to hurt you. But you did. He looked up. Rachel, please, this doesn't change how I feel about you. I almost laughed. You think that helps? You think that line is some kind of comfort? I still love you, he said quietly. Do you even know what that means? He stayed silent. I stared at him, hard, looking for any sign of real remorse. But all I saw was fear. Not guilt. Not grief. Just fear of being found out. I leaned in. You weren't going to stop. You were going to keep seeing her. You just didn't think you'd get caught. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Exactly. I stood up, grabbed a glass from the cabinet not because I was thirsty, but because I needed to do something with my hands before I launched the nearest object across the room. He said, Can we work through this, please? For Ava, for us. I didn't respond right away, because in that moment, I realized something. He wasn't asking for forgiveness. He was asking for preservation. He wanted the image to stay intact. The family photos, the weekend routines, the holiday plans. He didn't care that he broke the vows, only that I noticed. I turned back to him, calm, cold. You're sleeping in the guest room. He blinked. Wait, Rachel. You don't get to share a bed with me and another woman at the same time. He stood, reached out. Can we just talk? We're talking. No, I mean really. Like fix this. I looked at him like he was a stranger. Jason, I'm not your rehab. He stepped back. I grabbed a blanket from the linen closet and dropped it on the guest bed as I passed. He stood in the hallway, stunned, like the consequences just arrived and he wasn't ready to sign for the package. I didn't cry, didn't scream. I closed our bedroom door and locked it. It came the next morning. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a hoodie that still smelled like him, which honestly made me nauseous at that point, staring at a text thread with no new messages. Jason hadn't said a word since I told him to sleep in the guest room. No knocking, no late-night apology, just silence. Good, he could sit in it. I was halfway through deleting old screenshots when a new message popped up on Instagram. Request folder, unfamiliar name. Madeline Stokes. I stared at it for a second, stomach flipping before I even tapped. The message preview said, Hi Rachel. I know this is unexpected, but I feel like you deserve to know the truth. And just like that, my hands went cold. I opened it. The full message was longer. Too long. One of those rambling things people write when they're trying to sound sincere but still cover themselves. It started out concerned, like she was the victim too. I'm sorry if this is overstepping, but I've been seeing Jason for a while now and I just found out you're still together. Still together? Still? He told me you were separated, that things were basically over, just not finalized, that you stayed in the same house for Ava but lived separate lives. I blinked. She kept going. If I had known, I never would have gotten involved like this. I promise I'm not trying to hurt you. I just thought you should know because he clearly wasn't being honest with either of us. I dropped my phone on the bed and sat there, heart punching against my ribs. He told her we were separated? Like, we were just two polite roommates raising a child? Like, I didn't kiss him goodbye before his so-called coffee meetings? Like, I didn't wash his socks and listen to his stories and build a whole damn life around the lie he was feeding her? I picked the phone back up, reread the message 3 more times. My brain was splitting into 2 voices. One was screaming, She knew! She had to know! You met her? She came to your house? She hugged your daughter? The other voice was quieter. And angrier. No. He told her what he needed to. Same way he lied to you. She got the curated version. The spin. I didn't reply. Not yet. I scrolled back through her profile. A story had just gone up literally minutes before she messaged me. It was a quote over a blurry sunset. Sometimes being honest means losing everything you wanted. But at least you kept your soul. I rolled my eyes so hard I saw last week. Soul? Please. This wasn't some eat, pray, love journey. This was a woman who helped my husband cheat and then decided to text me like she deserved a medal for it. And still, the facts lined up. He lied to her, too. Because if he had told her the truth, I'm married, I live with my wife, we share a bed, we have a toddler who still says, "Daddy home." Every time the garage door opens, she wouldn't have sent that message. She would have ghosted, blocked, moved on. He sold her a version of his life where I was already written out. And in doing so, he wasn't just unfaithful. He was revising history. I sat with that for a while. The idea that he'd been walking around, living 2 stories at once, one with me, family dinners, school newsletters, budget spreadsheets, one with her coffee dates, meaningful conversations, soft lies about being stuck in a marriage that was already dead. And now? Both worlds were crashing at the same time. I opened our iCloud calendar, clicked through the shared entries. There it was again. Meeting, 3:0 p.m. Press House Cafe. Recurring, routine, coordinated like a dentist appointment. Except this wasn't a cavity. It was rot. I closed the laptop and stood up slowly, my hands shaking but my thoughts laser clear. This wasn't about just catching him anymore. This was about who he chose to be in 2 completely different narratives. And how in both. He played the victim. He was in the living room when I came down. Laptop open, glasses on, pretending to work. A steaming mug next to him, half a granola bar on the armrest, like he was living in a stock photo of Dad getting things done. He looked up when he saw me. "Hey, you want tea? I just made some." I stood there for a second, watching the absurdity of it, how normal he looked. Like he wasn't sitting inside a collapsing house. Like the life we built wasn't flickering behind him like a dying light bulb. I stepped closer. "You told her we were separated." He blinked. The granola bar crumbled slightly in his hand. "What?" "Madeline, she messaged me. Said you told her we were basically over." He stared at me like I'd just spoken in another language. She messaged you? That's what you got from that sentence?" He stood up, fast, like movement could make this less real. "Rachel, I didn't mean it that way, it wasn't." "Stop." I said it low, steady. He stopped mid-step. "You told her we were done, that I was just here, in the house. Technically, but not in the marriage." He didn't deny it. "Not really. I didn't want to complicate things," he said quietly. I stared at him, frozen. "You didn't want to complicate things." "Rachel." "No, you wanted to cheat with a clean conscience. That's what you wanted." His mouth opened, closed. "You wanted her to think you were available, so you gave her a version of our life where I didn't exist." "That's not true." "Really?" I snapped. "Because I've got messages, timelines. I've got proof that while you were sitting at our dinner table asking what I thought about switching pediatricians, you were texting another woman that she made your week." He stepped back, running a hand through his hair. "I messed up. I know I messed up." "No," I said. "You didn't mess up. You chose, repeatedly, every week. You planned this, you hid it, and then you lied about it to both of us." "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Jesus. That line again. "You keep saying that like it matters." I was confused. I felt trapped. "Don't you dare," I said, voice sharp. "Don't you dare use our daughter, our house, our life as the excuse for your lack of integrity." He was pacing now, hands flying, voice starting to crack. "I didn't think it would go this far." "It always goes this far, Jason. That's what happens when you tell the same lie to 2 people long enough. Eventually they find each other." He stopped, looked at me like a cornered animal. "You don't understand." "I understand everything," I said. And I did. I understood that he was never going to admit the full truth unless I pulled it out of him with pliers. I understood that he wasn't sorry, he was scared. Scared of being exposed. Scared of losing control. Scared of me because I wasn't crying. I wasn't breaking. I wasn't playing the betrayed wife curled up in bed with a box of tissues. I was standing. Cold. Clear. "You've got 2 choices right now," I said. "You can keep spinning this into some misunderstood midlife crisis, or you can get real." He swallowed. Didn't answer. That was answer enough. I nodded once. Not to him, to myself. The decision wasn't made in that moment. It had been growing for days. But this? This was confirmation. I turned toward the hallway. "Where are you going?" "To check on Ava." He stepped forward. "Rachel." I stopped in the doorway. "You should start thinking about where you're going to stay next week." His eyes widened. "Wait, what?" "I'm not doing this with you under the same roof." He took a shaky breath. "So that's it?" "No," I said. That's the beginning. I didn't post the video. Let's make that clear. I didn't send it to anyone. I didn't leak it. I didn't even show it to my closest friends. I wasn't looking for revenge. I wasn't trying to blow up his life. But someone did. It only took one person, probably one of Kayla's followers, who screen recorded the original before she deleted it to upload it somewhere else. Twitter, Reddit, TikTok again, doesn't matter. It was out there. And once the internet gets a taste of something messy with just the right mix of scandal and suburban irony, it doesn't let go. By Friday, the video had 100,000 views. By Monday morning, 500,000. The title changed every time. Married dad gets caught cheating in background of nanny's vlog. Momfluencer's husband exposed by accident. He thought no one saw, but the internet did. People ate it up. Some slowed it down, zoomed in, added commentary. Others made duets POV. You find out your dad is cheating thanks to TikTok. There were memes, dramatic music edits, side-by-side shots of my family photos, and the clip of Jason kissing Madeline like she was part of the furniture. His face, her hand on his chest, that damn cardigan he wore when he wanted to look chill. The comment sections were savage. He really said, "Catch me in 4K." That man is too comfortable cheating in broad daylight. Imagine being the wife watching this. Oof. Some people tagged me. Others tagged his work account. Yes, his work. Someone tracked down his LinkedIn. Someone else found the company page and dropped the video in a client forum. He was mortified, which honestly was the most emotion I'd seen from him in weeks. I didn't say a word. Not online, not in group chats, not to anyone outside my closest circle, and even then, I kept it brief. We're separating. No, I don't want to talk about it. Jason, on the other hand, tried damage control. First, he deleted his socials. Then he issued a vague statement to his coworkers. An unfortunate misunderstanding. Private family matter. Hope people can respect our privacy. He called me that night. Voice low, calm, carefully rehearsed. Rach, if you could just say something. Just one post. Nothing dramatic. Just clarify that things were complicated. I stayed quiet. Please, he said. This could affect my job. There it was. Not, I'm sorry. Not, how are you handling this? Just, this could affect me. I said, should have thought about that when you kissed her where the camera could see. He sighed. Come on, you know how the internet works. It's a pile-on. Everyone acts like they're saints. Maybe they're not, I said. But at least they're not cheating on their wives on camera. He didn't like that. Started getting defensive, said it was just a kiss, that he was being vilified, that it was unfair how quickly people jumped to conclusions. I let him ramble. Because the more he talked, the more obvious it became. He wasn't upset that he did it. He was upset that he got caught. I ended the call without saying goodbye. After that, I stopped picking up. He texted a few more times, said he was being torn apart in group chats, that Madeline was getting dragged in DMs, that clients were pulling back. I didn't reply. I wasn't going to defend him, not after what he did, not after how he lied to both of us, not after the way he sat in my kitchen, sipping coffee while texting her that he missed her laugh. I wasn't his spokesperson. Let the internet do what it does. Because while he spiraled, I stayed still. I went quiet, not because I was weak, but because I was done. Let them think what they want. I wasn't here to fix his mess. He showed up unannounced. Thursday afternoon. I was folding laundry in the living room, Ava was napping upstairs, and there he was standing at the door with that look like the world had ended and somehow I was the one holding the match. I didn't invite him in, he just walked past me, muttering, "We need to talk," like it was still his house. Like the last 10 days hadn't been one long unraveling of everything he thought he could control. He stood in the middle of the room, pacing. "I can't keep doing this," he said, voice sharp, hands clenched. "Then don't." He stopped, looked at me like I'd slapped him. "You're really just gonna act like this is fine?" "No," I said. "I'm acting like this is final." His mouth dropped open slightly. He laughed that short, shocked, nervous kind of laugh people do when the ground moves under them and they don't know where to put their feet. "You're letting the internet ruin my life." That's what he led with. Not an apology. Not a question about Ava. Not even an ounce of acknowledgement for what he did. Just, "You're ruining my life." I sat down slowly, folded one of Ava's shirts, smoothed it out. "You're doing a pretty good job of that on your own." He stepped closer. "Rachel, come on, you're letting people believe the worst." "I'm not letting anyone believe anything, you did that part." He scoffed. I kissed someone, one mistake. I looked up at him then. You lied. For months. You told her we were separated. You told me nothing was wrong. You saw her weekly, texted her daily. That's not a mistake, Jason. That's a second life. His face twisted. You really think I'm the bad guy? You're not the guy at all anymore. That shut him up. He walked to the window, stared out like maybe some version of his old life was still out there, intact and waiting. Like this was just a bad scene in a long movie that could still end well if he said the right line. Then, low and bitter, I've lost clients. I've lost respect. My inbox is a war zone. Madeline's getting death threats. I kept folding. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? He snapped. Do you understand what people are saying about me? Probably the truth. His eyes flared. You haven't denied anything. I haven't had to. He pointed at me then. Actually pointed. You're loving this. That made me laugh. Quiet. Empty. Trust me, if I was loving any part of this, you wouldn't still have a car in the driveway. He took a breath. Too fast. His voice cracked. You have to say something. Online. Somewhere. Say it wasn't what it looked like. Say it was taken out of context. Jason, I said, standing now, calm as ice. It was exactly what it looked like. He started pacing again, voice climbing. You're gonna let one mistake destroy everything we built? You destroyed it. I'm just stepping over the pieces. You think you're better than me? He snapped. No, I said. I just never lied to your face while building a backup plan in a cafe. He flinched. Silence stretched between us like wire. Then, I can't believe you're doing this. I already did it. He stared at me. But I wasn't there anymore. Not really. The part of me that loved him, trusted him, that part was gone. Burned out. Quiet. All that was left was the mother of his child, the woman he used to know, the person who had carried their life on her back for years and was now, finally, setting it down. I walked to the door, opened it. You should go. He hesitated, eyes desperate. I still love you. That used to mean something. Now? It sounded like a punchline with no setup. I said nothing. And he walked out, finally understanding what it felt like to be on the outside. Filing wasn't dramatic. No slammed doors, no loud declarations, just a quiet morning, a stack of papers, and the kind of clarity that doesn't need an audience. It took 15 minutes at the courthouse. Ava was at preschool, the sky was gray, and I remember thinking this is what endings really look like, boring, paper-heavy. Still, the clerk didn't even blink, just took the file, stamped it, and said, "You'll be contacted for the next step." That was it. 7 years together, one daughter, dozens of holidays, thousands of tiny routines, and it all ended in a beige government office with a plastic pen on a metal chain. I walked outside, stood on the steps, and let the air hit my face. And I felt it. Not sadness, not regret. Relief. Because for the first time in months, maybe longer, I wasn't holding my breath. The thing is, I kept replaying one moment in my head. Not the video, not the messages, not even the confrontation. It was that first night, when I showed him the clip, and he didn't deny it. He just asked, "Where did you get that?" That's when I knew. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't heartbroken or panicked because he hurt me. He was shocked because he got caught. That's the difference. Remorse and regret aren't the same thing. One comes from empathy. The other comes from ego. And Jason? He was never sorry he did it. He was just sorry I saw it. That realization did something to me. It shut off a switch I didn't know I had. The one that used to keep me up at night, wondering if I said the wrong thing or didn't try hard enough or missed some warning sign. But no, I didn't miss it. He just hit it. And now? Now I'm free. Not the movie kind of free, not sailing into the sunset or laughing in a montage. Just real-life freedom. Messy, quiet, solid. Ava and I moved into a smaller place. Closer to her preschool. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a backyard that gets exactly 30 minutes of sunlight in the afternoon. She likes to dance in it. I like to sit on the porch steps and watch her, holding a cup of coffee I actually get to finish while it's hot. Jason still texts sometimes. About Ava's school schedule. Holidays. Logistics. I keep it polite. I'm not angry anymore. I just don't care. There's power in that, by the way, in not caring. In not waiting for an apology or watching their name pop up on your phone and wondering how you'll feel. Now, I feel nothing. And that's everything. I started running again, just a few miles, every other day. Not to bounce back or post about it, just to remember what it feels like to choose myself. I bought a journal, started therapy, made a playlist called No More Bullshit. And yes, Ava calls it my angry car music. She's okay, by the way. Kids are smarter than we think. She asks questions sometimes. Why don't you and Daddy live in the same house? Why do people say mean things online? And I give her the truth, wrapped in softness. Because she deserves that. We both do. The old version of me, the one who folded his shirts and planned surprise date nights and thought love meant never giving up, she's gone. And in her place, a woman who knows exactly what she's worth, exactly what she's not willing to tolerate, and exactly how strong she can be when everything falls apart. So yeah, it ended. But I didn't. I started over. And this time, I'm the one holding the pen,